Hello awesome people of YouTube, welcome back to another game of Starcraft 2. This is going to be a little bit of a different one. As you can see, I have a completely different interface on this one, and the reason for that is this game is actually played on an old version of Starcraft 2. It was one patch back, and the reason for that of course is because the tournament was held between December and January, so it only concluded on the 6th of January if I remember right. This one is going to be between LiquidTLO and Wallfacer. Now, there's a bit of a difference here. So this tournament is actually called Nation Wars number 3, and basically it's just a bunch of countries that had their own players fighting against each other. It doesn't really matter whether you're on Team Acer, whether you're on Team Liquid, it doesn't really matter. So Wallfacer, unfortunately I couldn't find any details about him, so it doesn't appear that this guy is a pro player right now. So he just apparently taken part in this tournament, and he's actually representing Finland. And on our top left, you might have already seen the name, it's actually LiquidTLO. So TLO obviously is a professional player, and he is indeed representing Germany. So LiquidTLO versus Wallfacer, a Zerg versus Zerg. We're going to see what's going on here. It's going to be a little bit confusing, so bear with me while I cast this. Obviously, the production tab is at the bottom. The one thing I like about this, by the way, this is the WCS 2.2 skin for observing, and it's actually not that bad. I found that it's actually quite nice. The reason I like it a little bit more than the reskin is because it does have the army supply and the workers split up without having to bring up anything. It's all very nice and neat, and of course nothing is taking up space over here. So please let me know what you think about this one. If you like it, I will continue to use it. If not, then I will go back to the reskin, which I've slightly edited myself because the portrait was a little bit off, which was really annoying. So your feedback is pretty crucial right now. You are in control of what my channel is going to be like. The only thing that I have to mention is that you don't have the actual armor, and basically you can check how much damage each unit does here. So that's one thing which is a little bit unfortunate. But of course at this point I'm pretty familiar with most skills and pretty much most values of different units, so I probably won't really need to have those at all. But of course if I do struggle with this, I will of course change. It's always changeable in between games, so that is no problem. Now the only thing that is also awesome in this one is you can get the structure, so you can see what's already there. Of course you can see what's in production. That's pretty standard. So there we go, the two Zerglings running past each other and running straight into each other's bases. Now there is a slight discrepancy in builds here at the moment. As you can see, Wallfacer has decided to go for a Roach Warren, whereas TLO has decided to go for a Baneling. What the hell is that building called actually? I don't even know. I can't even check. It's a Baneling nest, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So there we go. Looks like a bit of aggression going on here. Now, before metabolic boost for TLO is going to be up, there isn't really that much you can do in terms of chasing down Zerglings. Now, to note, Wallfacer has decided not to go for Zerglings at all. He's not making many of them, and he's also definitely not getting metabolic boost. So saving all of his gas right now for roaches. And this will pretty much prevent any sort of Baneling bust going on. If TLO does decide to build Banelings, which it does appear like he is, there they are here, the roaches will be able to very, very easily counter that. And reason for that is Banelings actually, as far as I remember, they do about 39 damage, which is not enough to take out a roach, of course. It has 145 health. So it takes a total of about 4 Banelings to destroy a roach. So of course if you manage to even get a Baneling close to a roach, because of course it's a ranged attack, so they could potentially kite, then at that point the roach can probably just kill you. So a bit of passiveness going on from both of our players right now. Of course the Queen just being out and about here, trying to take out the Overlord. She is almost twice as fast as the Overlord, just to mention. Even off creep, the Queen is a little bit faster, which is very strange to say, because Queens off creep are ridiculously slow. There we go. Now LiquidTLO's Zerg speed is coming to effect just a little bit. And there we go. So army supply for TLO actually is very heavily favoring him. Actually, never mind. Roaches just came out now, and now it's starting to even out a little bit. Wallfacer a little bit ahead on workers as well, which is quite alright. Both players are still producing workers. TLO is making 4 at the moment. 5 even. So he is interested in taking that expansion, so this will be quite a crucial moment. If Wallfacer notices that there's an expansion coming up here, which I'm going to just double check if he has. No, he has not yet. Then if he doesn't notice it, then TLO is going to start pulling very, very quickly ahead in terms of economy. If he does notice it, then TLO could be punished quite heavily off the back of that. So looking at this, it does look like Wallfacer is starting to build a bunch of roaches. He's probably trying to max out very quickly. Does have a layer on the way also, as you can see here. It is a little bit strange. These icons are a lot smaller than what they were up here. So again, bear with me if I do miss anything important. Glial Reconstitution and Ranged level 1 is also on the way. This Queen will be able to take this Overlord out quite easily. So no particular problem there, and looks like Wallfacer is interested in his own gold expansion. So TLO's expansion is going to be earlier. And I do believe that Wallfacer is going to be just fine here. His armor supply is a bit bigger, so he will be able to hold off any sort of aggression from TLO until this expansion is up. But of course, it really does depend on the micro. As you can see, he does have a few Ravagers here. Only one Ravager up from Wallfacer at the moment, and that is on the way. So a few good Corrosive Biles here could determine the game. And let's see, looks like the engage is about to happen. TLO's army is a little bit split up, so he doesn't want to keep his units too far apart. And there we go, the engage is going off here. Wallfacer thinking that he does have the advantage here. Of course, he actually does. Of course, the only difference that can happen here is the Corrosive Biles. Looks like a lot of damage going off here. The army supply is very, very similar right now, and they're both dropping very, very quickly. LiquidTLO is starting to pull ahead just a little bit every now and then, but here we go. The units are now evening up. So the Corrosive Biles may have done a bit of an impact here, and now LiquidTLO is on the chase. So now we're going to have a look at the economy. It does appear that TLO is a little bit ahead because that gold expansion is already up for him at this point. Wallfacer is going to be catching up very, very shortly as soon as these drones actually start working. And let's see what's going to be coming out of the production tab. Nothing special so far. It does look like Wallfacer opting for level 2 ranged weapons, so he's already got one complete. TLO only starting his level 1 right now. So again, a little bit of a difference in builds right now. TLO is a little bit behind because he did opt to go for Metabolic Boost. Didn't actually quite pay off. I think the Metabolic Boost did go a little bit to waste so far. He might still make use of it later on with a few Ling run-bys, but honestly it really depends on whether he decides to do that. Because right now he does need to pump out roaches. As you can see, he is starting to pull ahead with those numbers a little bit as well. Just have a quick check. Does TLO have a layer? He does indeed. So both players are already on layers, which is fine. Okay. So as you can see, TLO's Overlord spread is a little bit better. He is spotting pretty much everything, and he does now manage to see this expansion as well. His one again a little bit earlier than Wallfacer's. Now this, look at this changeling right here. Wallfacer sending out a changeling, not even getting spotted. So TLO, I wonder, is he going to be able to see that this is going on? Honestly, I don't know. Has he seen that at all? Yeah, he has indeed. Now he has finally cleaned it up. The changeling does get removed, so both players are aware of the opponent's expansions. Of course, TLO's one again is a little bit earlier. So the supply difference is going to start taking place as soon as he saturates that. So TLO about 12 supply right now, ahead. Has quite a lot of roaches. Let's bring that units tab. Both of them actually have quite a nice bit of roaches. The only difference here really is workers at the moment, it seems. Okay, so it looks like TLO is going for burrow. I wonder, is he going to get a tunneling clause as well, so he can basically burrow underneath the enemy roaches, potentially take out a hatchery or two every now and then back on up. So maybe he'll want to starve Wallfacer. I found that in Legacy of the Void, one very, very common tactic is to actually just starve your opponent of resources. So if you deny bases and you just keep turtling away at your own, then essentially there's not really that much that the opponent can do. Now this small roach army is going to get taken out very, very quickly if he's not careful, so he does need to be very, very careful with how he engages with this. As you can see, the armies are, I mean, Wallfacer's army here is about twice the size of TLO's, but that is because TLO's army is all back here, very, very spread out as well. Not quite sure why he's done that, possibly to prevent any Zergling run by. Okay, so it looks like Wallfacer could potentially be interested in taking this expansion. He is being a little bit uncertain. Now there we go. It looks like there's some lurkers in this army as well. Gonna bury, but not be in range of anything. So is gonna have to unbury those again and continue. So there we go. Tunneling Claws actually going down for Wallfacer and Burrow as well. So that's quite interesting. It doesn't appear that TLO has his own Tunneling Claws as of yet, and he's not researching them. And there we go, a big surround here. Are these lurkers going to get down? If they do, it's going to start favouring TLO very, very quickly. There we go, the army for Wallfacer has actually been split up. I do believe that the bigger army is towards TLO's base, but at the same time there is a few lurkers here. Does have vision of them, of course, and I do believe that pretty much the two armies are going to clean each other up. This one here is going to favour Wallfacer, but the army here is indeed going to favor TLO. So is he going to snipe off this hatchery? I do believe he will. Is actually getting cleaned up here. I think the upgrades are going to start favoring Wallfacer very quickly. Now as you can see, there is a lurker here also, so it is pretty safe to attack. Two lurkers indeed. And there we go, he has managed to snipe off that expansion, so this is quite significant right now. He did, here we go. So TLO manages to hide away his drones here, not getting them taken out, something I actually see quite often. When you have a bit of harassment, a lot of players, Zerg players that is, tend to not bury their workers, and instead they just move them away, which results quite often still in them all getting killed. So as you can see, TLO losing a bit more workers here. It does appear that on this occasion he did decide to back them on up. There we go. TLO's units are going to start cleaning these up very, very quickly. They're catching out these burrowed roaches. Now, where is TLO's army? Is that it? That's everything that he has, actually, it seems. So TLO's army right now is about 50 supply ahead. This is quite good for him. Obviously, he may not be aware of how far ahead he is, but he should be getting the idea, seeing as he has managed to destroy the hatchery here. At this time, Wallfacer has not decided to rebuild it yet. Unfortunately, can't really check with this skin how many resources left are on this, but I do think it's probably worth it. And there we go, TLO does appear to be interested in taking this base. Manages to shut down the second goal expansion. At this point, the income is going to heavily favour him. Look at that, 500 minerals per minute for Wallfacer and 1500 for LiquidTLO. So there we go. It does look like Wallfacer has taken on quite a few workers on TLO's side here, so denying a base for himself as well. Very, very well played to not take on TLO's huge army and instead decide to just counter deny a base also. So it does look like a lurker has been brought up here. Not going to be able to take this out before the overseer comes out over here. Actually, never mind. Didn't actually see that he had more units here. So yes, he will indeed be able to probably nuke this down before the units come up. And there we go. Now, even if he loses these units at this point, he will actually still be well ahead, simply because of the fact that he has just shut down every bit of income from Wallfacer. I think he might have a little bit of income in the main base, but that's really, really minor right now, since most of it is going to be mined out very shortly. TLO currently sitting on 3 bases. Main base is about to get mined out, so I would count that as 2 bases of mining. This one is getting a bit of harassment from roaches. Are they going to start taking out a few drones? Nope, they do get scared away here, as you can see, also being spotted by the overseer overhead. Oh, doesn't manage to kill it. Sends off the roaches to attack it. Okay, so it looks like level 2 Carapace is on the way for TLO. Let's have a look at upgrades altogether. It does look like Wallfacer has been a little bit ahead on his upgrades pretty much everywhere as well. So as you can see, he already has level 2 Carapace. He has Tunneling Claws. TLO doesn't have Tunneling Claws as of yet. He just got the burrow probably for the Zerglings, or for the drones rather. And it does look like there's a hive on the way also. So TLO's army 117 to 91 right now. He is so far ahead in terms of supply, and managing to take out these spine crawlers, that is quite a free win for him right here. If he would push into Wallfacer's army right now, he would absolutely win the game right now. And it does appear that he's interested in doing just that. Looks like Wallfacer's army is trying to go around TLO's, but because TLO's army is so much bigger, he's able to split it up and still do significant damage. So there we go, TLO takes game number 1. Okay, so the way these games work, it's not specifically a best of 5 or best of 7 with specific players. It's actually the nations, they have their own set amount of players, so they can interchange them, as far as I know, as many times as they want. And of course, I'll be moving on to game number 2 of Finland versus Germany. See you guys there. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe below, of course. And I'll see you guys in game number 2.